What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. I'm Billy Collins.
I'm MATJ.
And this is Magician and the Jock. This week we have a special guest in studio, Mr. Kevin McCarthy.
Hello.
But before we get to Kevin, let's do us a big favor. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Hit the notification bell.
Smash that like button.
Smash that button. Guys, here we go. Kevin, what's up, buddy?
Not a whole lot. I'm just excited to be sitting in the presence of such excellence and professionalism.
I didn't get that. Could you say that again?
Let's repeat. Let's put that on tape. So thanks for coming
That's
in.
right. I
Found
said
our
it.
thumbnail.
That's right. I said it. I'm excited to be sitting in the presence of such
It did
excellence
take a little bit of conjuring to get you
and professionalism.
to come in.
Yeah, man.
You know, we had to bribe you with a shirt.
It was easy enough.
Yeah, you know.
I can be bought.
We had to hit that 250,000 mark before he'd even...
$250,000.
It's a big
I
one.
will not come on unless you have 250 subscribers.
They send you a stack of what are those sticky notes with the symbol on it? We don't get the plaque, but
Yeah, we get stickers.
they're like, keep trying, guys.
Ray.
Thanks for all the free labor.
So, Kevin, tell us a little about your backstory, where you come from.
Why are you here?
Why am I here? So my name is Kevin McCarthy, and I am an insurance agent at Sound Choice Insurance right here in Morehead City. Sounds super exciting, and believe me, it's just as glamorous as it sounds. 30-second backstory from up north. Don't hold it against me. Wife and I have been here 17 years.
Where up north?
I was born north of Boston, and then my wife is from Queens. And then we lived on Long Island for a bit.
Damn Yankees.
Damn Yankees is right.
Sorry, go ahead.
But we've been here
Well,
for...
It's judgment free.
You know,
That's fine.
my father-in-law was from
I'm not
Queens
sensitive.
as well, and when he moved down here, he said he was a born-again redneck. So
Yep.
welcome.
Well, as long as you come here to get away from the stuff that's up there and don't try to bring it down here, I think that's acceptable.
Yeah.
You know, that's the part that bugs me when people have been here forever and they come from another part of the country and they're like, well, you know what this place needs? No,
Yeah.
it
No,
doesn't.
it doesn't.
It's
This
good the
is-
way it is. Thank you.
This is why you came here.
Exactly, 100%.
Now we don't have roses. It's bullshit.
They took our roses.
Tractor supply.
Are
we
we
cannot-
allowed to say bullshit?
Yeah.
Oh, this is awesome.
Yeah.
Okay,
I
cool.
mean, this is, it's our show.
Let me ask the sponsors.
Okay,
Yeah,
cool.
we're good.
All right.
They're in my ear.
Perfect. So, been here about 17 years. Was in the car business for a bit. Decided to get out of that business as much as I enjoyed it for family reasons. My daughter's 10. When she was about 3, they were riding by the dealership. She nudged her little friend in the back seat and pointed to it and said, "That's where my daddy lives." And I was like, "Oh." My mom's like, "That was pretty funny." I said, "No, it's about as funny as a kick in the balls."
Yeah.
So it was time to make a change, and I kind of looked around, and you can't throw a rock in this town without hitting an insurance agent. And it probably would bounce off and hit a realtor and then maybe a financial planner. But I saw an opening in the market for somebody that would be really customer-centric and focus on the client and just get away from some of the technology stuff and provide actual old-school service. I think sometimes the more we get modern and we lose that personal touch, it makes a bigger opening for somebody like me. So here we are.
So, interesting story about you about the
That was
car
inspiring,
industry.
by the way.
Wasn't it inspiring?
Did you? I heard like slow music in the
I
background.
did. Little violins.
Like that from Dumb and Dumber. Remember where they were
Yeah.
crying with that,
Yep.
that telephone commercial?
Now
I'm
that's a
finding
cultural
that.
reference that I get because that movie came out before my daughter was born.
Yeah.
But anything after that, if
Big
it's not
Charlie Chaplin
animated,
guy.
yeah, perfect.
So, when you were in the car business, you
Yes.
kind of went a different way. You weren't a traditional. Weren't you more of the internet style?
Yeah. So I got started in the car business in 2005. And because I love the Jeep product, I was actually going to go to ECU to get my master's to be an accountant because I really obviously like interesting careers.
Yeah.
And
This guy's great at parties.
yeah, woo, that's a great way to clear a room. Walk in. What do you do for a living? I'm an insurance agent. Yeah, right. So,
Okay.
but in all seriousness, I needed a little bit more time in residency to be able to get the in-state tuition. So I was like, I'll just try out the car business because it's better than just sitting around doing nothing, and I'll just work a little bit. And
Those guys
actually,
get laid a lot. So
yeah, why not? You know, and my wife thought that was a great idea. So, so I got started in the car business just because I loved the Jeep product, and then about a year after I got started, this little website came along called YouTube.
I never heard of it.
I know it's up and coming. I think they're going to.
I think it's
going
gonna
to
be big one day.
I think you're right. Yeah, and
we're on YouTube.
oh,
Sorry.
Oh, sorry.
my bad. Okay.
You guys are
This isn't Vimeo or Vimeo.
okay, Boomer. Is that still a thing?
Boomer or Vimeo?
Yeah.
Either one, doesn't matter.
It's
Of the many channels,
Yeah.
the thousands of people watching.
That is right. 05, because that was my freshman year in college, and because it used to be E-Bombs World, where they had it was like just cat videos. 'Cause early YouTube, it's not how it is now. It was like home videos, real raw.
Yeah.
But you saw like
Flip cams.
oh man, like Jackass style videos.
Totally. Well, and I'm new to the area, and I don't know hardly anybody. So I had to kind of carve out a niche for myself and get known. And we were talking about this earlier. When I was in the car business, it was all about the asset was attention. I had to get attention. So how am I going to put myself in front of somebody in a really ultra competitive market that's generated on price? And I thought the best way to make that connection with people was video. So I got a little flip cam, and I started doing little personalized walk around videos on different cars when somebody would inquire about one. And I'd have to, I mean, it was crazy. You had to like upload it with the flip cam, get this link, take this link, put this over here. A 90-second video would take like probably 45 minutes, which is why nobody did it.
You had to like rewind YouTube videos back then.
Oh, yeah. And if you didn't rewind them, they charge you $1. It was
Sorry,
brutal.
it's policy.
Yes. Sorry, we're going to take away one
Yeah.
subscriber. So I got started in that just to kind of get attention. And the dealership YouTube channel at one point, I don't even know what it is now, but they had over 500,000 views. Because
Really?
Yeah. Well, I would do a video on each car as they came in, like a 4-minute walk around. This is this, this is this, this is this. And then some of them, for whatever reason, by the analytics or whatever, we had one of them that had like over 100,000 views, which is stupid to me.
Those videos are massive now, like
Yeah.
in-depth car reviews. Yeah.
So that was 2006, 2007 we were doing that. And
How are you getting it? I mean, this was still, Facebook was around, but it was still, I think it was just for
it was still for
college
college,
kids.
yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
How are you sharing it?
So I was only sharing it on a person-to-person basis. So you would either call or you'd send an email and you'd be inquiring about a vehicle. And then
Got it.
I would make the video for you and I'd send it. And sometimes they were private.
Got
And then we do our inventory videos. Those would be kind of public. And then people would just stumble upon them. And then we had a website that would tie them together. So when you go to look at a car, that video would pop up.
You were just kind of like hosting videos on YouTube.
Yep.
That just happened. Other people happened to see them.
Yep.
That's
yep.
interesting.
Yeah. Because how else would you do it? And Craigslist, remember Craigslist?
Yeah.
Is that still a thing?
I think so. Don't they sell prostitutes on there, right?
Wouldn't know anything
I
about
don't.
that.
I don't know.
You don't? Okay.
Okay.
BOGO.
So they had a deal where I found somebody smarter than me that showed me how to do the HTML where I could actually embed the video in a Craigslist posting. So that was the thing. So we would post the videos of the used cars and it was free. Like we were on like a budget, like design on a dime. I think I had design on a dime, but the boss was expecting 9 cents back. So it was really
Yeah, because
tight.
he wasn't really into it, right? If I'm
Nobody
not
was
mistaken.
then.
You were with
Yeah.
Rick Gladwell, right?
It was Rick Gladwell first, and then Mike Toller bought
Yep.
the place. And Mike Toller was a lot more open-minded, but still it took a while to get people to see the value of doing that. Because when you're doing video and you're posting on social media and you're doing YouTube, that's not like an instant thing. It's not like, oh, I did this TV ad on Thursday, and then 3 people called on Friday, and 2 of them showed up on Saturday and both bought cars. You're putting something out there that, quite frankly, you don't even know if anybody's going to watch it.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's like, why is this guy?
We know that feeling.
Yeah, exactly. So why is this guy over here spending 45 minutes to make a 90-second video? The person might never even get it. They might never open it. They might not show up. They might not be qualified to buy. Like, why would you do that?
Especially then, because it was so new. You know, like now, people probably listening like, are you crazy? Everyone's on YouTube. But back then, it was still a very niche website.
Yeah, but what was cool is that there was no competition there.
Right, absolutely.
Yeah.
And I'm fairly competitive, but like logic says to me, why would I butt heads with everybody else on price and fight over the same 5 people?
Excuse me, ma'am. Can I help you look at anything today?
Yeah, exactly. You know, what brought you in today? Was it the big sale? Or you get an email and it's got a link and it's like, hey, Matt, check out this 2000. Well, back then it would be like this 2005 Jeep Grand Cherokee.
Power windows.
Yeah, this thing actually has a heater core or whatever, you know?
yeah.
So that was the differentiator. And at one point, I think my show up ratio for appointments was over 85%.
Wow.
So people would see, and then I would do other things too, like
What's standard
40, if that. Wow.
So that's essentially you talk to, hey, Mr. Prospect, come in Thursday at 4.
Yeah. So now
less
the deal,
than half the time they were showing up.
Yeah, now the deal's different. Now you've got appointment setters
Yep.
and salespeople that are the closers or whatever. I guess I don't know.
Wolf of Wall Street.
I'm so far, right. Yeah. I'm so far removed from really paying attention to that business, but I think that a good ratio is probably 30 to 40%.
Wow.
So and they'd show up, and because there was that value. You had created the value that they felt like, okay, I'm coming to see something that's different.
Yeah.
And it's not just going to be like, I'm going to drive onto this lot and this guy's going to jump out of the bushes and assault me and not give me my keys back.
Yeah.
I would do as much of the process as I could before they even got there.
Huh.
And then it made my closing ratio so much higher because if they came in, they were pretty much done.
So you were just turning and burning.
Yeah. As much as you could in Morehead City.
Big YouTube following.
Yeah. With those 9 people.
Yeah.
But I think Josh is hitting that. When we talk to Josh, he's setting his levels. And my only problem with that is I don't know if there's enough people in Morehead for him to sell cars to because he's so on it. So
yeah, but if you sit out and you watch the traffic going by, there's enough people.
Yeah.
Oh, for
there's
sure.
There's plenty of people.
For
and
sure.
he doesn't need 500
Yeah.
people. He only needs 30 good ones a month.
And we were talking about that. Sometimes when you're on YouTube, especially if you're subscribed, the golden standard for podcasting is Joe Rogan. And you see his numbers. I mean, 120 million downloads a month.
Right.
And those are make-believe numbers. I mean, I'm not saying they have them, but in the quote-unquote real world in a business, if you have 100 people looking at, hey, look at this widget I sell, that's massive. I mean, I know in the financial industry, you're sending out 5,000 mailers to get 50 or 60 people at a dinner seminar, So, it's...
And that's true
the
because
real world numbers.
We joke around about our what we do, but we're closing in on 10,000 views.
Yeah.
So I mean that's not bad for just little what we do, but in perspective of what, like Matt was saying, Joe Rogan, it's kind of like, oh gosh, I'm never going to get there. But I guess that's the same way with any kind of like insurance or cars and stuff. It's just all about the numbers.
Yeah, and you've got to scale it to your business too. Like you're talking about, you send out 5,000 to get 50 to show up. If all 50 people in the next 30 days decided they wanted to move their assets to you,
sure,
would you be able to handle that?
Right.
Or would you have 7 satisfied clients and 43 pissed off people that said, well, Matt promised me this, that, and the other thing. I can't even get the guy on the phone.
Yeah.
So we would get vendors all the time. They're like, we can put you in front of 1 million unique visitors. I'm like, I don't need 1 million unique visitors.
Yeah.
I just want, 30 people that can buy a car.
Yeah.
And I look at that same thing in the insurance space. I'm not out there trying to get all these new clients.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to take good care of the folks that I have. And in return, I've been blessed. They give me their friends and family and their contacts too.
Right. So that's the next question is what was the transition from going from cars to insurance like?
Brutal. Let me say that again. It was brutal. And the biggest reason is it's 2 different skill sets and 2 different income levels. So when you have a pretty good business going and people are coming in and buying cars, and then all of a sudden you're starting, it's like when you make that first deposit into your 401k and you look at it and you're like, really? That's what my first year was.
Yeah.
Just brutal.
Yeah, I remember the first year.
And the second year was a little bit better. And the third year was a little bit better. And then Florence happened. And actually that really helped us grow.
Yeah.
Because now
people don't go to the doctor when they're feeling good.
Exactly. And all the things that we'd been telling them leading up to it about protecting their stuff really was now making sense.
Yeah.
So it wasn't like, oh, you're just saying that because you're trying to sell me something. It was, oh.
Because I think you're one of the first people that told me you find opportunity in disaster.
Never waste a good opportunity. Never waste a good recession or a good disaster.
Oh, Colin Powell said, never let a good crisis go to waste.
Yeah.
Well, there you go.
I'm
A
smart.
wise man once said.
Yeah.
A wise man.
Very wise.
That's my pen name.
Wise man or Colin Powell?
There's a
one's
lot
fine.
of them.
I got you.
There's a lot of
Understand.
them.
Sure.
So were you able to take your book of business from the cars to...
So at first I thought that's what I was going to do.
Mm-hmm.
The dealership was fantastic. I still got a great relationship with them, but I didn't want to just be like, okay, I've left there and I'm going over here and now I'm going to start calling all those people because I felt like that was a little bit, I don't know. I just felt like
It's awkward.
it's very awkward. And And I also needed a year or two to kind of get my own rhythm, because sometimes people want to come out and support somebody in a business when they're new just because they want to support them because they're new. But that doesn't mean that person necessarily knows what they're doing.
Yeah.
So it was important for me to get out there, get a few clients, go through a couple different renewals, have some claims, have some stuff happen. Then I can speak from experience.
Yeah.
And it's amazing how many people, they reached out to me.
Yeah.
The best marketer I've ever seen by far is my wife. She would get on Facebook and she'd be like, Dad's home from a day of working or doing whatever. And they would start reaching out to me. She wasn't saying go buy insurance from him.
Well, and that's 100% because she's the one that actually pushed you to come on the podcast.
Always.
She's like, come on, Kevin. When I post on Facebook.
That's interesting you said. Gary Vaynerchuk talks about that as a content strategy, just documenting. So not a constant, like, look at me. It's just more like what you were posting, hey, we're putting up stuff on the wall. You know what I mean? Kind of humanizing it.
Yeah. Kind of behind the scenes, but real life puts more of like a pulse to what we're doing.
Well, and if you want to really clear a room, go in and tell somebody that you're an insurance agent, then try to sell them insurance. Yeah. But if you just happen to, in conversation when somebody says, what do you do? And you tell them what you do, but then you get off of that topic, they right away think that they want to come back to you when they need something. It's not necessarily like reverse psychology, but I'm not one to stuff people down, put something down somebody's throat.
Right.
So
when it comes to marketing the insurance, because I've said this before, I think you're one of the kings of marketing yourself in an obscure, abstract way. You think outside the box. You're not the typical, I'm just going to put a billboard up and go with it. You think outside the box, like I said. How did you incorporate that into the insurance, like you did with the topless weather reports and with the videos that you did for
topless weather reports? Say what?
What? My hand fell.
God,
was that a real hand?
That's creepy.
But Adam's family
fist bump.
I know. That's why I can shake hands with that.
Gotcha.
Take it away.
That's safe.
But that's a great question because cars translate really well to video. Right. And insurance and it's a handshake and a signature.
Yep.
It's your job I always say it's like you have to build a box in their head so they know it feels like they're getting something.
Right.
Because if not, it's a premium.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
100%.
So did that make it, because you mentioned before, like I'll just take kind of similar what I did with the car business in here, and then you get an insurance, you're like, how the hell am I going to make this entertaining and interesting?
Yeah, because Matt buying a car and Matt looking at homeowners insurance are two different mindsets.
Ladies.
Totally
look
different.
At this policy.
Policy. Look at the endorsements on this one. Yeah. So the big thing is I went back to basics and broke it down. And I said, let me talk to my clients like I'm talking to my 5-year-old daughter. 4-year-old, 5-year-old, whatever she was at the time. Because...
Do you got to go potty?
Where's your sippy cup?
I'll be standing outside. If anything happens, just call me. That's awkward.
Yeah.
But breaking it down for people and making them understand. And sometimes just asking them, like, do you know what the difference between comprehensive and collision is on your auto policy? And half the time, people are just afraid to ask. Or you phrase it with, I didn't used to ask this because I didn't want to appear to be uneducated or foolish. But when I got in the industry, I learned that a lot of people didn't know what's the difference between a named storm deductible and a wind and hail deductible, this, that, and the other thing. Exactly. It's exhaustingly snoozy. It's just hard to translate that. So my whole thing was to basically break it down for people in simple English. And then I would switch up the cadence. So I would do a little bit of video. Video would be like 30 seconds. A lot of my business is referrals from realtors.
Yeah.
The video to the client would be like, hey, Billy, I just talked to so-and-so. I understand you're under contract at 123 Main Street. Just wanted to properly introduce myself, let you know who I am. I'm going to be working on a quote for you. You should have it by the end of the day, or you'll have it tomorrow, or whatever. Just that little quick connection to kind of be out there. And then, as we move through the process, I like to set the expectation. This is what's going to happen. This is when it's going to happen. And then actually follow through with what I said.
Define the abstract.
Yeah.
Do you think it was an advantage? So I read stories about Warren Buffett, who was reading the stock prices at 9 years old, right? He speaks that language. that wasn't me. Now I'm in the financial industry, so a lot of the dumbing it down or putting it in layman's terms, you do that. Step one is for yourself. You're like,
Yep.
if I can't, I'm trying to figure this stuff out. So it's kind of an advantage because you're way more speaking the consumer's language than an actuary or an insurance exec or whoever. Do you think that was kind of an advantage?
By far. The
Yeah.
best compliment you can get is when somebody says, you don't talk like an insurance agent.
Yeah.
When you break it down for people and you say things like, okay, Matt, I've looked at your options and this is the company I think sucks the least.
Yeah.
And you're going to go, what? I'm not a flavor that everybody likes. And I get that.
And that kind of goes back to the car sales because you kind of broke the mold on that too.
Well,
I
everyone
don't
likes
think,
topless men. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
but
Should we discuss what the topless weather report is?
let's
or
go
just
ahead and
leave
talk
alone?
about it. Is it still on there?
I mean, it's still on YouTube,
We
but I
should
haven't
drop
done
a
new one.
clip on,
That film quality's gonna be solid from a
hey, look, but it's,
Oh no, the topless weather report didn't come out until like 2012, 2013.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, I
So
think
that
after
was So what happened with that is,
That's part of the thinking outside the box that you were teeing up.
well, what happened was I realized at some point that I was really building the brand. I was building the brand for the dealer and not building the brand for me.
yeah.
And when a salesperson or an agent or a financial consultant builds their own brand, it actually benefits the other parties as much.
Right.
Because now there's that stickiness where the clients want to continue to do business with that person. So
And that's true because, like, you see me go to different restaurants and bars and help other bartenders and stuff. And I tell the bartenders, I'm like, act like this is your own personal business.
within a business.
You don't make a paycheck.
Yep.
You're making tips. Treat it like a business, and everybody thrives.
And if they treat it like a business, the restaurant owner is going to benefit from that
Exactly.
as well. Yeah. So the topless weather report was predicated on somebody sent me a text one time and they said, hey, I saw this app where you just put in your zip code and it tells you if you can put the top down on your Jeep. That's all it was. And it was like a little graphic and it was like fully up, half down, or fully down. And I was like, this is
It's kind of like the smoky, like what's the
Yeah,
risk of a
that,
fire?
yeah,
today?
exactly. Your
forest
fire
fire.
hazard today. Your top, yeah. So the first topless weather report, I think it was like July of, I think it was 2012, and it's literally me being like, "It's your Jeep guy topless weather report for blah blah blah. It's gonna be sunny, so you can put your top down."
It's a titty bit
Have
nipply
fun
out
out
there.
there.
Please tell me you said that.
There was some titty bit nipply later on as we got a little bit more comfortable, but then it evolved, and the first couple were just brutal, and I was like, all right, I'm going to commit to doing this because there was something intuitively that told me that it was the right thing to do, is to just do something different. And then they started being themed. I would do birthday ones for people.
You
Like,
brought in your wife.
yeah,
Yeah.
oh yeah. I did. Well, I had my little
Only
girl
Patreon
involved.
can find that video.
Oh yeah, well that's different. Yeah, but and then it became like this little thing, and it would be like themed. If it was like May 4th, there'd be like Star Wars music in the background, May the 4th be with you, and all this other stuff. But what was cool is they were 15 seconds, because that's how much video was allowed on Instagram,
Oh, yeah, that's right. It was.
right? So
Billy would know about
This is OG stuff right here.
Yeah.
Matt's form of social media is LinkedIn.
I understand.
He's big on LinkedIn.
I gotcha.
What a queer.
Yeah. and Billy's
a
were getting ready
superstar.
to ramp up his MySpace again. So
Look,
yeah.
I
He's
downloaded
just
it again.
sliding in people's DMs.
So, but that was the initial one. It was
So were
just
you
to get
doing it
people-
from a Jeep? Or how
anywhere. Well,
Okay.
by then the technology for a smartphone was decent. So I would do the whole thing. I would shoot it on my iPhone. At first I didn't edit them. It was just on Instagram, boop, and just did it. Then I was like, let me clean this up. And then I had like an intro and outro. They started getting a little bit longer. They started getting fancier. They had more music. And then they started just like into where actually there was a guy that was working with Auto Trader that saw one, secret shot me. I sent him a video, followed up, did all this stuff, and then afterwards, I didn't even find out until years later. But then he shared it with all these other dealers, and they're like, "Yeah, this is how you want to get attention."
Wow.
So
And it led you to go out and actually help.
I did it for a little bit. Yeah, I went.
I know you went to a car lot. I can't remember where.
like New Mexico, and a couple of them, and I just didn't like it because I was on the road. I'd be
Yeah.
away from my family, and I just was like, I want to do something where I'm local.
Your daughter
involved in
like
the
points at the
community.
airport. This is
Yeah,
where Daddy
exactly.
lives.
That's where Daddy
lives.
lives. Yeah, exactly. You know, so I want to sleep in my own bed and all that. So it was cool because it kind of, that's what I needed to go through to get me to the next step. And
I think I admire that about you as well. Is that if you want something to happen, like spend more time with your family.
sure.
It's not going to just happen.
Well,
No,
basically,
but I'm saying like it's not going to just magically happen.
Yeah.
If you're in a job where you got to put 80, 90 hours a week
Right.
in to stay at that success level, I can't just suddenly do 50 hours a week and stay at that same, you got to be creative.
And the thing was, again, Mike Toller and everybody at the dealership, they were awesome, but it's very hard. And I know Josh is experiencing this a little bit. He's got better hours than I did because I guess he's a better negotiator. But I started trying to train my customers when to come in to work off of appointment.
Yep.
3 of y'all can't show up at the same time because 2 of you are going to be pissed.
Right.
And so like eventually I kind of learned, but the problem is there's still a lot of after hours and Saturdays.
Yeah.
And Mike was like, well, you can come in late. I'm like, I don't want to come in late.
Yeah.
I want to leave early. And it never would fail that I'd be getting ready to leave early and somebody would go, oh, yeah. And it's like, you got to do it. Cause it's like, I don't think about just that one deal, but down the road, I don't want that. I don't want to let another fox into the hen house. So
it's like what we talked about before, that 90 days down the
yeah.
road
Yeah. So that
mentality.
now I'm like, okay, I'm trapped because I've created this monster and now I have to feed it, which is a positive problem.
That's it. Yeah.
Right? Like having too much business is better than not having any. And I admittedly, if I had one regret about the car business, it was truly and honestly the last year I was checked out. I was just done.
Now, we've had our friend Ryan, who came from the car business. We had Josh, and now you. It's
You guys need to make some new friends.
I know.
I think.
We
We have
really
like
do.
at least 3 more.
Sorry, here, let me hold this for you.
Hold my hand.
That thing is just freaking everyone out.
It is. It's like Billy's friggin' hand fell off in the middle of the podcast. But did you
Now
did
it's-
you
I'm gonna
enjoy
look
it?
at it the rest of the time. It's right
Crawling
there.
away.
If that thing
just
crawls,
flicked me
I'm
off.
leaving. Did you enjoy it? Because they both seem to enjoy the car business. It just the hours. Did you?
By the time I left, I was 12 years into it. I enjoyed it in the beginning when my wife was working evenings, and so we would get home at around the same time. It wasn't a big deal. I enjoyed it when my daughter was first born because everything was, still new and we could work around her schedule. It hit me, not just her saying that, but it hit me when I realized that when she got into a school environment, she couldn't stay up until 10 o'clock. So Dad would come home at 8 and we'd play upstairs for 2 hours and play soccer and goof off. But I was like, yeah, that's not going to be a real thing when she's older. So that kind of started eating away at me to realize that I was going to miss some of that time.
And missing your daughters was way more important than ours.
Yeah.
It's the distinction between living to work or working to live.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's I mean that's a lot like the entrepreneur. It's tough to be entrepreneurial when you've got those obligations of family, and it's hard to be nimble. That's what we talk to young guys. I'm like, look, before you get married, like get on your path, make your dent, because once you get married, you're gonna have those obligations. And it didn't feel like it, but it is an obligation. My son's about to turn 3.
Best time ever.
I don't feel like, daggone it, he wants to hang out with me.
Yeah.
I got to get back. It's like, no, I want to. So it's like build your business so it can kind of run more automated. Is that what insurance?
So I get where people say you got to make your dent before the family comes. But I think the motivation, if you focus and you funnel it right, is even more so once you have the family. And you're talking about your come up and the grind. I grind harder now than I ever did in the car business. I just do it at different times. So I'll get up at 4:30 in the morning, try to get a quick workout in, whatever. I'll be sending emails or doing stuff from 5 until 7:30. Then my daughter gets up, we'll have a little breakfast, maybe we'll go out, we'll skateboard a little bit or do whatever she was into that week, right? And then at some point, maybe I'll head to the office.
Do what?
YouTube.
Yeah. Subscribe.
You should like and subscribe. So in a lot of ways, yeah, family is the most important thing. However, it shouldn't be an excuse to give yourself I'm more disciplined now than I was before, because I have to find a way to fit it all in. So I look at it like there's family time. That's on my calendar. That's blocked out. It's this time to this time, this time to this time on this day, and then I'm going to fill everything around that. And I didn't have that opportunity in the car business, but I can do that in this industry.
But it gave you great perspective, because sometimes it takes you grinding that hard to realize the value of, Dan Sullivan talks about this a lot, like buffer days and stuff. And I read somewhere, if they made it the average the work week 4 days instead of 5 days, would that change productivity?
Nope.
It's like, no. If you think about your day, you're like, man, it's that thing off of Office Space. You're like, I probably do about 15 minutes of work. The average person, they're just looking busy enough to look like they're at work.
Well, and we've had this conversation when we talked about the fitness, and people say, well, I don't have time to work out. It's bullshit. 24 hours in a day, and if you break down the math, you have free
comes down to
hours.
Just make it a priority.
Yeah.
And that's the thing that I find interesting too, is what is that saying? Because you're like, I don't know, like the savant with the sayings and like the recall. I said that to Billy. I was like,
everything about everything, Billy.
That's right. I said, does Matt have a photogenic memory?
You know what? He's great at what he's good at.
I'm taking pictures right now.
But what's the saying? It goes, the work will expand or contract into the time that's allotted within reason.
Is that how it goes?
If I give you 2 hours to do a task,
eloquent.
you're going to take 2 hours. But if I said within reason, I need this done in 45 minutes, you'll find a way to get done in 45 minutes.
The number one productivity tool is deadlines.
Yep.
Like without a deadline, if you tell me something's due Wednesday next week, it's not even in my mind until
Tuesday night.
I remember
it's the final exam.
Yeah. I remember that planning for our wedding. It doesn't matter if you go 2 years out or 6 months. The last 3 weeks are like the only time because now you have that sense of urgency.
Always, yeah. And it's the same thing, I think, in business to a certain degree.
Oh, for sure.
And what I do now is really way more task and activity driven. So it's like, okay, like you said, you can only manage 100 good relationships. Okay, 100 good relationships for me probably isn't going to pay the bills. So I need to grow my book to manage 1,000.
Right.
1,000 people whose family are spending $3,000 to $5,000 a year with me is going to make a good living.
Right.
So you better be efficient.
And then you break it out. And to me, it's all about the analytics and the numbers. So, okay, if I need to manage 1,000 clients, that could be a stupid
You get
number.
10 of your friends.
Yeah.
And they get 10 of their friends.
Yeah.
Is that from The Office where they drew the triangle? They're like, I think that's a pyramid scheme.
My wife met I met in a deal because somebody got somebody's friend. True story. Look it up. But anyhow, so and
that's got Nicholas Sparks written all over it. Just how he described that.
It's the Notebook. It's the insurance
I see a
salesman.
lighthouse in the background.
Crashing waves.
Yeah.
Oh man.
It was Long Island, but and then part of that was looking at it and saying, you had said, not having been in that financial industry before, Warren Buffett's reading stuff at 9 and then you're coming into it new. I think coming into an industry where you don't have any experience is a huge advantage.
100%.
Because you're not boxed into the traditional way of thinking. You don't know that your goals are stupid. Like there's probably some insurance person out there that heard what I said, 1,000 families, and they went, that's impossible. You couldn't manage that many people.
The reality is, no, you couldn't.
You can.
If you break it out and you say that's 1,000 people, and I'm going to touch them, not inappropriately maybe.
You're going to wait outside the door.
Exactly. While they're in the collar if you need anything. Exactly. Yep. So I'm gonna touch them 4 to 6 times a year.
Yeah.
Okay. So that means I got to make 500 contacts a month. If you take it 6 times, that's 6,000. Billy, you'll do the whiteboard later. So that's 500. Okay. And I'm working 4 weeks a month. Okay. That's 125. That's 25 contacts a day. It can be a text. It can be an email. It can be a 30-second video. Hey, man, I was just thinking about you. Your renewal doesn't come up for another 6 months. Just want to make sure you're still with the same bank, blah, blah. Stupid, boring stuff, but making it fun. I can talk to 25 people in a day.
Yeah.
This is what we said with Josh. Like, he's accomplishing big things by doing the little things.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what you're describing. But this also, I don't think enough people would get into business thinking in terms like this, because you're like, if I want to make this much money,
I got to work it backwards.
And you're like, all right, I can't do 100 touches a day, so maybe I need to look at this insurance over this one, which pays twice the commission, or whatever.
Or to your point, I can't touch 100 people a day with each having one policy, but I could certainly touch 25 that have 4.
Right.
So why are so many businesses interested in going out and getting new clients instead of loving on the ones that they already have?
Right. Putting full attention towards them. And I like what you said about going from ground zero of not knowing anything coming into the business, because when kids come up to me and say, "How did you learn magic?" and I tell them,
Somebody took my nose, and
somebody did this with the thumb,
Yeah.
and it freaked me out. So, but I tell them to read books. Don't go to YouTube and learn something. Don't go get a magic DVD or whatever, download and learn from it, because you tend to mimic that person.
Yep.
Learn the theory and apply your own principles to it. And that's why I want them to read when they do it, because then you can create. You don't want to be a cookie cutter of some other insurance salesman. You want to be Kevin McCarthy.
Yep. When I was in the car business, I did listen to some, quote, motivational stuff, but I never, ever, ever paid attention to what anybody else was doing.
Yeah.
I didn't go to other dealers' websites and look at how they're marketing. Because now
shiny object syndrome. You'll be chasing
yeah,
that
and what
strategy.
happens is you got to make it yours, and that's authentic, because people can tell. So when you build a system you break it down and you build it from the ground up. This is my process. I own this.
Mm-hmm.
Then it's different,
Yeah.
as opposed to, oh, I just followed this template and here we go. So I've got 3 or 4 dozen emails that I send to different clients based on different situations that are, quote, pre-written, and I'll just go in, and they're not automated. They're kind of auto helped. I should come up with a clever catchphrase for that and market it. So
Auto-hated. No,
auto
it doesn't have the
hated,
same ring to it.
auto faked. But the concept is like, one of them might say, how I spent my Saturday morning, ... And it's not what you think. And it'll be like, hey, do you remember when you were a kid and you used to watch Saturday morning cartoons and eat cereal until you were sick? Well, now that we're adults, we don't do that anymore. And I spent my morning reviewing your policy. And now it's a joke. Now it's tongue in cheek. And I'm making fun of myself and how boring I am. I'm sitting here drinking coffee on a Saturday morning while my girls are sleeping. When I say girls, my wife and my daughter. And I'm reviewing your stuff. But I did review your stuff. And this is what I noticed. And I think we should talk about it this week. And then
That's clever.
And what I'll
Very
do is
clever.
I'll actually set that up during the week, and I'll just schedule it to go out on Saturday morning. Oh, I can't believe I just gave that up. But now you're taking.
So you're lying.
Yes. Well, I spent
is
a
eating
Saturday
cereal.
morning doing it. I'm eating cereal and I'm cracked out on sugar. So just taking like something as simple as, I'm not going to just send you this renewal email. I'm going to say, how about perhaps your auto policy needs a makeover? Remember those makeover shows that were really popular for like 5 minutes? People love those. I think maybe your auto policy could use a makeover as well. So you're taking something that's kind of topical, culturally relevant, bringing it into their world, poking fun at yourself, because everybody loves self-deprecating humor.
That's right.
And now you're loving on them by presenting what's in it for them, as opposed to saying, I've sold more of this than this. You know, like,
I just want a vacation to Carnival Cruise for how much premium I got.
yeah, realtors. If I see one more picture of somebody holding keys in front of a house and saying, I just sold this house.
Yeah.
Now, if you have a picture of you holding the keys and you're
They
saying,
just bought this
They
house.
just bought this
Yes.
house. They were on the market for only 7 days. They got 10% over asking, and now you're selling it to me. I don't need you to tell me how good you are. I'll determine that for myself.
Right.
And so, like, that's the thing that kind of irks me, is when you see that. And everybody does it to a certain degree, like the humble brag. But I think there's a way that you can do it to where people look at it and go, huh, that's interesting. My other financial planner never did XYZ for me. You know, my other speaker or magician or whatever never took the time to do this. This is different. And that gets back to what we were talking about earlier. How do you stand out in the noise?
Because you're not, at the end of the day, you're not competing against other insurance agents.
No.
Like if you run a upscale dealership, you're competing against the 5-star restaurant, the hotel. Like, what's their experience like there? Because that's the experience they want. And what you were saying about telling people, was it Walter Payton said, when you're good, you tell people. When you're great, they tell you.
Yep.
There's a lot of truth to that.
Yeah, absolutely. And when you're selling a product like a car, you're not competing with other car salespeople. You're competing with, are they going to allocate that money for the car, or are they going to buy the boat? Or are they going to buy the this, or are they going to buy the that? When you're selling what, in a certain degree, what I have is something that somebody has to have.
If you have selling a softer pillow is what I say.
Exactly. If you have a mortgage, you have to have homeowners insurance.
Right.
So when it comes to creativity, you kind of scale back a little bit. I know you do the emails and stuff.
Sure.
But it's not like before where it was like Instagram and doing quotes and Facebook and YouTube. So how do you keep fresh? I know you help a lot of younger entrepreneurs, salespeople. Does that kind of give you the exercise?
I love it. I like doing. I do some commercial insurance here, working with small businesses getting started, and I joke with people that I do that as a hobby, not because I'm not qualified to do it from a professional standpoint, but because if you look at it like it's fun and it's something you want to do, and you don't worry about the money behind it, you really put forth your best effort. And it's fascinating to see, especially coming out of COVID, some of the people that are starting.
As he wipes his nose. This guy's a super spreader.
I gotcha. That's awesome. Where's that hand? High five. But it's so that keeps me fresh, is working with some of these businesses and talking to these people and understanding what they're doing and what that looks like, and helping them, not just providing their insurance needs, but saying, hey, let me connect you with this person and they might be able to help you with your email marketing, or let me connect you with this person and they've got a service that can help you grow this without a whole lot of effort on your part. I find that really cool.
Yeah. I could see you doing like consulting. What would be your dream job? Would it be helping entrepreneurs?
I think it would be to have a podcast.
That's a nightmare.
No, I'm just kidding. I'll tell you what, I really enjoyed the creative process, and I like to look at something and kind of break it down like you were saying. Mm-hmm. Like when I got started with the insurance business, the person that hired me had been in the industry longer than I've been alive, and I was old at the time. And so when I would ask,
much younger now, buddy.
Exactly, ain't getting any better. But I told him, when I ask a question like, why do we do this? I'm not being disrespectful. I just want to understand the thought process, because I look at everything from a client perspective. Like I look at it like it's not about my agenda and how I'm going to shove this down their throat to meet my numbers. It's about how can I make this experience better for them in a selfish way, because it makes it easier on me. So when people genuinely want to do business with you, that whole posture changes. Me going up to Matt saying, hey, can I quote your auto insurance, is totally different than Matt coming to me and saying, hey, I got my renewal for my auto. It looks a little high, and I don't even know the person that's handling it, and I wouldn't even know what to do in the event of a claim. Would you mind taking a look at it for me? Now, if something goes south in the conversation, I can say, Matt, you came to me, bud. I don't understand what you're bitching about.
Right.
Yeah.
It just changes the whole posture, and the whole interaction is different. So I think sometimes when we ask questions, it's not because I'm being disrespectful and saying that's stupid. It's help me understand, how did we get here? Right? Like, why are certain things the way they are? Why is the car buying process like you got to sit at a desk and go through these steps, and this guy talks to his manager? Like, break it down for people and just, explore why that's going on. And then all of a sudden people are like more open-minded to things, and they say, I don't know. That's just how we always did it. Well, maybe we ought to relook at that.
Yeah.
So that part of the creative process is fun for me.
And that's going to be the strongest the earlier on it is, because you're way more consumer than you are insurance producer.
Exactly. Yeah. So you try to keep yourself new.
Like if I was doing this, someone said when someone goes to Lowe's to buy a drill, they're not buying the drill; they're buying the hole in the wall.
Great Cardone.
But I mean, I've heard different iterations of that.
Yep.
And it is, if you can simplify it down to that. I'd never had a client or anyone. You probably never had. Can I have a comprehensive independent insurance review from you. That's really what I woke up wanting this morning.
Yeah.
They're like, no, I don't know what the heck this means.
Now, you will get a text on a Saturday when there's a storm in the box. And it might say something to the effect of, holy shit, do I have enough coverage?
Am I covered?
My house is on fire. I have fire insurance.
Yeah, right? Do I have that? So they do ask for a comprehensive insurance review, but they don't ask for it in that language.
Right.
Or you get the, what if hypothetically my daughter and her college roommate drive my car to Key West and, end up with a couple bags of marijuana? No, that never happened. But so there are asking those questions. It's okay. Don't worry about it. But they're asking those questions in civilian language. And I think our job, I've said that I'll always have a career in the fact that I translate between the consumer or the client and the underwriters, right? The consumer in their mind thinks they just want to get good coverage for as cheap as possible. That's not what they really want, but that's what they think.
You're that little sign language guy in the bottom of the corner.
And the underwriter is the most paranoid person on the planet that is always looking out for what's going to cut into their company profit sharing, right?
What was the movie with Ben Stiller? Remember that? Where he was
Something About
insurance?
Mary?
No.
Along Came Polly.
Yeah, when there was like that billionaire that was trying to get a big life insurance policy, and he was like skydiving, and Ben Stiller was the underwriter. They actually made a movie about that. I can't believe it.
I think I do remember.
Jennifer Aniston.
Yeah,
he wouldn't eat the
yeah,
bar
yeah.
peanuts.
Okay, I'll have to watch that one.
You're
That's
that
where
guy.
the term sharded comes from.
Yeah.
What the hell is sharded? I just shit. When I
Yeah.
farted.
My daughter used the word sharded yesterday, and I paused. I had a proud moment. I meant to ask her after her friend wasn't in the car anymore if she really knew what that meant. So, note to self. Hey, Siri. Ask Lala. She knows what sharded means.
We're going to Gymshark. That's going to be our new
Gymshark.
because there's Gymshark as a brand. I'm like, dude, just call it Gymshark. It's for people getting started out.
I want her to explain to me if she understands what two words were fused together in that. But I've said it to people. I said insurance companies don't care what you do as long as you tell them ahead of time so they can charge you the appropriate rate. Want to have a trampoline in your backyard? Have at it. Want to have a skate park? Sure, we got coverage for that. We just need to know ahead of time.
They're not Santa Claus. They're not just
Right.
like, hey, for $5, we'll cover everything for the rest of your life.
Yeah, because the worst time to find out about what coverage you do or do not have is at the time of a claim. So let's get out in front of this in a non-threatening, fun way, if it's possible, and let's have these conversations ahead of time. And then we can design something. Well, I'll design it. You just hang out. That will meet your needs. And the price should probably be about the sixth most important part of that
And
process.
I think that brings up a topic where you separate yourself somewhat from other, because I was briefly in the industry. You will decline clients because you can't give full attention to those clients.
That's
So
just
you
it's a
can
future headache too. If they,
Oh,
well,
100%, yeah.
and so you can review the policies and you can get in front and you can give the customer service that they deserve and what you can offer, and it's going to lower the attention on your end as well. But I see these other people just want to gobble up as much as they can, coming from the company I came from, and it just was very annoying to me that no one paid attention to them after they wrote the business.
Right.
And you take that extra step and you're like, okay, look, I got to renew this, or I got to talk about this on a continuous quarterly basis.
Right.
yeah, I call those guys free look advisors. They're there as long as that free look period still. Once that's gone, they're out.
Well,
Yeah.
it's easier for me to collect a little bit of Matt's money every year than it is to go out and find another Matt. So
The retention is easier.
retention is what it's all about. And even Mike Toller said it. Sometimes no business is better than bad business. What does having a bad client cost you, Matt? Right? What does having a bad patron at the bar or booking a bad gig cost Billy?
Right.
It's a disaster.
The rabbit's already in the hat.
Exactly.
You bum.
Yeah.
You bum. Shut up.
Why
kid.
does this dove only have one wing?
Yeah. Now that is true. So, but there's a lot. We talked off air. Car business is like, without trying to sound crude, like trying to get laid. Right? One night stands.
Yep.
Whereas what you're doing now it's a long-term relationship, right? I'm sure you've told clients, hopefully I'm the last agent you ever need to, like, I'll handle this forever. And if you do your job, you will, because it's painful to go out and find a new advisor, a new accountant, a new insurance agent. So yeah, but dealing with, I heard someone say your goal is not how big you can make your business, how small you can keep it. How do you keep it fresh, exciting? You know, because there is something fun about, hey, this marketing, we can get 100 new, there's that kind of conqueror hunting. How do you keep it fresh?
I think for me, one of the fun things to do is to challenge yourself with new creative ways to get people to answer the phone or reply back to your email, not because you wore them down. Like, how many people have you heard they say they bought a car because they just wanted the person to stop calling them? Call. Well, what if you made it fun and you sent a goofy text, or you sent an email, or you sent them a handwritten note, or you just left them alone for a little bit and circle back later? Because a lot of it is about the timing.
So yes, so much time.
Right? So yeah, the one night stand, you're trying to get laid that night.
Low hanging fruit.
Yeah, but the relationship is forever. And a lot of people in my industry want older clients because they have more assets. I want younger clients because they'll be buying insurance longer than I'll be selling it. And then you can grow with them. And not as many people are paying attention to them. So again, why do I want to go where there's 10 dudes over here hitting on this one girl at the bar? Okay, she's good looking. But there's 3 or 4, she's a 10. There's 3 or 4 8s over here that could be 10s. And there ain't nobody over there. So I'm going to go over there.
You know, that's kind of like what you said about the miners. Don't sell the shovels.
Miners.
Miners.
I thought we were still talking about
not
the bar
the
analogy.
Share that.
It was that one time.
Yeah.
No,
Go
but
on. Children.
the guy that gets rich is the one that sells the shovels, not the
Yeah. During the gold rush,
Yep.
don't dig for gold, sell shovels.
because you go where the attention is.
There's another book
Not.
called Dig Your Well Before You're Thirsty.
Yep.
Another book, Blue Ocean Strategy, which is kind of what you're describing. Everyone in the financial sector is going for that 59.5 because that's when people can do rollovers,
Sure.
that stuff. But the blue ocean strategy would be when they're 50 and nobody's talking to them.
Exactly.
It's a longer term play,
Exactly.
though. Do you think just not enough people have built their business to where they can afford to, you know what I mean? Because it is longer term. If you got to eat today,
Yep.
something that's going to pay off in 5 years,
It's
it's great, but
Yep.
we might not even be around.
I've got a couple thoughts on that. First one is when I decided that when my family and I talked about it and we decided that I was going to make the move, I joked with my wife. I said, well, we got enough money saved up that I got 3 to 4 years to make this work, making less. And then if it doesn't, I can always go back to the car business. So my initial intent wasn't to see how much money I could make that day.
You had a long runway.
I got a long runway, which also can be dangerous because the biggest nation in the world is procrastination, right? So now you're like, oh, I don't got to hit it this
that's
month.
good. I
You
haven't
like
heard
that?
that one.
Really?
Oh,
Wow.
Put it down in your book.
I'll never forget. Steve.
He's just going to put it in that photogenic memory.
I'll be hearing that for weeks.
Exactly. So anyhow, that is a dangerous balance
Yeah.
to keep. To be hungry but relaxed. That's a good one, right?
Yeah.
So
It's like a bumper. This is the bumper sticker segment.
Coexist.
I'm good with anything. 4 words or less. 4 words or less. Yeah, that's 4. That's 4 words or less. So having that balance between being hungry and being relaxed, not worrying about I got to close this deal, because you could be in the car business and have nothing on the board that month, and then on Saturday sell 3 and make your mortgage. That doesn't happen in your industry or my industry. And you book a gig, you could be 6 months out, right? Yeah. So the average agent, from what I understand when I did my research years ago, was about 57 years old in the state of North Carolina. So they're not looking for the young people. Because they're thinking, I got 5.7 more years left, or whatever it is. So they're either maintaining what they have, or they're looking for the whales that they can pad their 401k before they get out. There's nobody in their 30s and 40s that's out there thinking about what their life's going to look like in their 50s and 60s. So again, there's less competition. And it goes back to, like I said, my wife is the best marketer and salesperson I've ever met without realizing that she is, because she looks at it from, she always says, you just be nice, always tell the truth, and do the right thing. And all that stuff will just take care of itself. So when you're dealing with a client,
Sounds like the Communist Manifesto.
isn't it unbelievable? Yeah. And then later we're going to get
play
together
drums.
and we're going to make some clothes out of hemp and stuff. It'll be cool. But when you have that mindset that you don't have to make that deal today, it totally changes everything.
It's an abundance mindset.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then it leads to where you can actually turn down business because it's just not the right thing. Like, if you ever think to yourself, I'll do this deal against my better judgment, don't fucking do it. Because it's going to go bad. And then you're going to look back and you go, God, I knew I shouldn't have called that girl that I met at that bar or whatever, because everybody told me she was crazy.
She was a minor.
M-I-N-E-R.
Yeah. No, that's
She's into precious metals.
So we talked about retaining clients. Let's briefly talk about, because we talked about this in our discussions before, firing clients.
it's called right-sizing your business.
What's your take on that?
Well, I think we had that conversation that I actively go through my book at least 3 times a year and try to find 6 people to fire. Like, who are the 6 people that are giving me the most headache right now? Which is a funny thing to say, because I love the people I do business with. I will do anything for them. And my family is super supportive in that if somebody calls me at 8 o'clock on a Friday, my daughter's like, Dad, get that. Because if they're calling you at 8 o'clock on a Friday, they're probably concerned. Or she's not saying it like that, but she gets it. You don't want to let that sit until Monday. If your business is full of people that are very needy and high maintenance, you get a Friday call and it's probably something that could have waited till Monday. But if you've done a good job in weeding out that client base or right-sized your business, if they're calling you, there's a reason they're calling you. You pick up the phone. So I'm not going to say that I love to fire clients. What I look for an opportunity. And then when you present it to them and say, Matt, I've been your agent for the last 3 years, and it seems like no matter what I do, I can't satisfy you, and I apologize for that. That's my fault, not yours.
Yeah.
I think when your next renewal comes up, it might
call
be best.
Corey.
Yeah, it might be best to go here, and it's not going to hurt my feelings at all. We'll still be friends.
Yeah.
And then one or two things will happen. Matt will either realize that he's being a complete turd, or he'll go someplace else.
Yeah.
Either way, problem solved.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've even given the boss's cell phone number to somebody I had one guy, he was from out of state, wanted me to do some things that weren't within the guidelines of the company because that's how the previous agent did it. And I said, dude, I'm not going to do that. And he goes, what do you mean? You're not going to quote this for me? And I was like, no. And he's like, well, you can't do that. I go, yeah, I can. I said, get a pen. He goes, what? I said, get a pen, write down this phone number. And I gave him my boss's cell phone number, the agency owner. I said, now call this guy and tell him that you're disappointed that I wouldn't do what you asked me to do, and tell me how that works out. It's just not worth it.
Yeah.
Because if he's a pain in the ass now, guess how he's going to be when there's a claim? If you got a problem client while you're signing them up, how are they going to do when the market
in the
corrects?
honeymoon phase of the relationship?
Yeah, how are they going to do when the market corrects by 14% in 7 days? Like, how was March of 2020 in your industry?
Right.
It was brutal.
That's great for me.
Yeah.
They don't go to the doctor when they're feeling good.
But you know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah, no,
you're
I see
fielding
what you're
all these panic calls.
But have the tough discussions ahead of time.
Set the expectation.
Yeah, I mean, I know in insurance, you see the rates on TV, 5 cents a month, you get $1 million in coverage, and it's like that's their expectation. But you got to bring them back. Man, I've said it before. If you're a dirtbag, you can make a lot of money in the short term in any business. But yeah, it's like Bernie Madoff. Yeah, 08 happens, and it's like,
It's
the game's up.
But if you do a good job of showing the value, like Walter Payton said, showing them that you're great, or other people are telling them that you're great, you're not telling them they're great. If you're doing a good job of providing the value and showing them what they're getting, then you don't have to have those other
And
conversations.
having your daughter write letters, man,
It's brutal.
dude,
And I've had
brilliant.
a ton of people. I've known you for a few years now, and I've had a lot of people tell me how great you are. And I know firsthand how great you are at what you do in your family life and everything.
Stop simping, dude.
I'm simping again.
Okay, such a simp.
But switching gears a little bit with your marketing genius, Do you have any tips for our show? Any ideas on how we can make it better, how we can market it better?
If you had to fire one host,
It would be me.
He takes up a lot of space.
Well, alphabetically speaking, he goes first. How did it get to be the magician and the jock instead of the jock and the magician? Just curious.
big fan of Fighter and the Kid,
Okay.
and it had the same cadence.
That makes sense. Cadence.
It rolls off better too.
Yeah.
I like, I'm very much about, what's the word that I'm looking for? Contradiction, right? So I find short form content super interesting. Like you got my attention for 15, 20 seconds, maybe 30. So I want something short that's going to grab me, but I also like long form content too. So if I'm going to get...
That's not confusing at all.
It's not. So that...
Kind of ruins everything.
So
I was like, how am I going to make this 15 seconds long?
So
Minors.
My point being is, I think you've got to get their attention with the short, and then you have earned the
like a
right
preview
to
or
provide
a
them
trailer, yeah.
the long, which I'm sure you're already doing. I saw a short clip with Josh Bell, and I was like, okay, this is going to
Yeah.
be cool. The best thing that I did when I did the Topless Weather Report, because I did it for a year, every day, 15 seconds. It might have gone to 30 seconds. I don't remember. Every damn day, Christmas, New Year's, Thanksgiving, I put out a piece of content. And then I would spend my time responding back to people and then engaging the audience and kind of building off of that. And then after a year, like somewhere around 9 months, I got tired of it. I'm like, I don't like doing this anymore. But I committed myself I was going to do it for a year. On day 360, I think it was 365 because it might not have been a leap year or whatever, I put out a fake press release that I said, I'm done. There's no more Topless Weather Report. People freaked out. And then I brought it back. And when I brought it back, it was a different format. It was a little bit longer. It was about a minute and a half, 2 minutes.
Pantless.
And at the end, Pantless Weather Report. It's
$9.97 a
cold.
month.
Shrinkage.
OnlyFans.
Yeah. When I brought it back, at the end of every one, I would put outtakes. And people loved the outtakes. They're like, yeah, I kind of would watch the Topless Weather Report, but I hung around for the outtakes. And it was just, funny things of things that you did, or maybe you're having tech issues, someone throwing the hand across the room or whatever. Yeah. So I think you got to play it up. You show people that you've got content and there's something to you, but you also don't take yourself that seriously. And I think that they can relate to you. If you're too buttoned up and too polished.
So that's what I was thinking. I've never had an outtake. So they might think I'm trying to bully up on
That's
Billy.
right. And being perfect, such as yourself, I think probably your greatest asset is your ability to tolerate people that aren't. That's impressive.
Quite as
I would agree with that.
Yeah.
It's my cross to bear. Hanging out.
the shit I go through.
Yeah.
So,
No, that's good for sure. It's just tough from a time perspective. I think what we're doing now too is kind of building that muscle. Like you mentioned working out earlier. When you first start in the gym, you're starting to see gains. You work out 2 hours, and as you get now, it's 30, 35 minutes. So I think we're kind of building
we're getting into that
the muscle.
Right now, you're building the bulk, but the definition's determined in the kitchen, they say.
It's the off season right now.
Yeah. I got you.
It's the off season. It's coming at the end of summer.
Competing next year.
I got you.
So,
But yeah, no, that's good. I appreciate that.
yeah, good stuff. Good stuff. So let's do.
We're not going to listen, but
It's fine. Most people don't.
So how about jock itch? What's your jock itch?
my jock itch, you have to come back to me.
Okay, Kevin, let's go with you.
That's a tough one because there's not a lot. I was laughing when you said it earlier. There's not a lot that bothers me. I think the biggest thing that irks me right now is the words due to COVID.
Or in these trying times.
Yeah,
God.
in these uncertain times. Look, I'm sympathetic. I get it. I understand. I'm not trying to sound like I'm blowing
Flu's
it
bad.
off.
Flu is bad.
I'm not trying to take a political stance. I think there's a point, though, at which we got to say, okay, not due to COVID. It's, okay, this is a reality. Whatever you think, it's a reality of life that we're going to have to deal with some form of it. Now, how do we move forward and not just hang on that excuse?
You got COVID fatigue.
Yeah.
I've got it bad.
It's like the round table. Remember Hurricane Florence? I was
Yep.
like, look, I don't want to hear anything more about Florence.
Yep.
I am done. I was at the point where I was, because everybody's making excuses. Well, I can't open my business, Florence. I don't want to hear it. I'm done with it.
And I understand that there's certain businesses that are going to flourish in these trying times, right? And there's some
Pfizer,
right?
Moderna.
Yeah, and there's some that won't.
They want these trying times to
So
continue.
yeah, so I think that's my biggest jock itch right now is that I think people oftentimes, myself included, I should be in much better shape than I am, and I'm really disappointed about
Round
that.
is a shape.
It is oblong is the word that I like to use. But yeah, so you can't hang on that excuse and say, "Oh, well, it's because I'm busy working," or it's because I've got the dad bod because I'm a dad. No, I've got the dad bod because I eat more than I should and I work out less than I should.
Yeah.
Period. End of story.
Yeah.
So that's my jock itch is people finding excuses for stuff that just, look yourself in the mirror and say, is this a sellable product? Is this a real thing? Or am I just bullshit myself?
Yeah.
Because you seem like someone that's looking for the silver lining. It's like COVID, okay, that's going to open up opportunity somehow.
I'm super positive. Yeah. I'm extremely, I have a lot of gratitude for everything. I mean, I'm just so grateful about so many things in my life. And my wife grounds me because she always tells me when I start getting a little cocky, don't forget where you came from. And that's true.
Buzzkill.
Yeah. But that's
time.
Buzz Killington.
But you can be grateful and still be confident without being a dick. I haven't figured that out yet.
At least I've.
What's the? You can still be humble and hungry at the same time.
Yeah. I'm working on that. And for me, the thing that I like to do is to try to turn the attention on my clients and look after them. And then that's when I'm in work mode. Then when I'm in family mode, I try to do the best I can, towards my family and focus on that instead of being half-ass engaged in one or the other.
Wherever you are, be there.
That's true.
Ready for your jock itch? You want me to go?
Jock itch for me. Gosh, how much rain we had. I went out to Michigan for a week, visit my grandparents, and I was just so pumped to mow the grass when I got home, and it was completely underwater. Is that weird?
No.
I tell my wife,
We did have a lot of rain.
I won the Yard of the Year, and she's like, there isn't a Yard of the Year competition. I'm like, yes, there is. Trust me. So that was my jock itch, but it's over now. But also the amount of, we talked about this a couple of weeks ago, the amount of fire ants that pop up after it rains.
The hills.
Brutal.
Are those speed bumps? What kind of riding mower do you have?
Oh, push, man. I don't do
Push.
too much weight.
Okay.
Ruts in the yard.
Excellent. Old school.
I think my jock itch would, a couple things, new tripod, drive me nuts. And I was at Walmart today, and I get, when people say, well, people that shop at Walmart are humble and nice and all, we're just down there.
People say that?
Yeah, it's like, the Walmart mentality. It depends
People
on what
that shop
side
there?
Yeah.
Okay.
Today,
Walmart.
today I ran into so many rude people. Like, it was just,
Well, you ran into them, dude. Like, what do you expect?
well, they actually ran into
This
me.
was inside the store.
Yeah.
Okay.
Not
So
intro.
I just, I just hate that whole mentality of, we're down. And I was with them for 20 years, but we're down home and we're humble people. We're real, working class.
Oh, so are you talking about these are the employees that
Yeah.
were rude?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, I thought you meant the people that shop there.
And I was like, I was
bad.
just shocked. I was like, what happened? What happened?
Yeah, they're like,
So-
they're offended when you ask them for help. I'm like, dude, you have a how may I help you on your shirt.
Billy,
Like,
Billy, due to COVID,
Due to COVID.
many of them are
Unfortunate
experiencing
circumstances.
uncertainty, and they're having to work extra hours. And that's why the shelves don't have Squishmallows or baseball cards.
get some
Yeah.
empathy, dude.
I'm
Come
sorry,
on, man.
I apologize.
Sorry you don't have an inflatable pool right there waiting for you.
Here's your ramen noodles.
Yeah.
Ready to do the 8-ball?
Yeah, we need to pause.
Yeah, we got to pause. So the 8-ball, we take a pause. Matt goes and does an
an
8-ball
eight-ball.
and comes back.
Of cocaine, right?
So
Smells
do you have a
great.
question you would like to ask the 8-ball? Well,
So we'll
come
make
up
a
with
prediction. So let's do a relevant prediction for him.
Okay.
Why does it have to be about me? Why can't it be about the show?
Because it's about our guest.
But it's not about our guests. It's about growing the show, Billy.
It is.
That's why I'm here.
be selfish, Dan.
How about what if we do a competition?
Let's do an 8-ball for you guys.
Can this episode pass Josh's episode?
There's no way.
Yeah. I'm going to write about it on LinkedIn.
It's done then. So
We'll put the over-under on views at, we'll say, 250 views in 2 weeks.
okay.
Shit, my wife will watch it 241 times.
I'm going over for sure.
Yeah, I'm going way over.
With his reach?
Yeah. I mean, I think he's going to be up there, Josh.
Billy,
numbers.
this is currently my reach.
Not bad.
I think
it's
you'd
actually
be
in front of you. It's more than our reach.
I think you'd be surprised once I tag you on how many people are going to be.
I'm telling you, get Nikki involved, and it's.
Oh, I'm gonna trust me. I'm gonna tag her.
Then I
and-
better go back and make sure I didn't say anything that was inappropriate.
You didn't. You're fine. You're fine.
Till then.
So I say way over. You say way over, Kevin.
I'll go over.
Okay. Let's see what the 8-ball says.
We're going to shake it till it agrees. Oh, while you're doing that, another jock itch. The amount of potential spam calls I get on my phone is unbearable.
I have been meaning to talk to you about your extended service contract.
Can you read that? I can't. They make fun of me because I can't read that.
Nerd. Oh. Definitely.
Something can't tell you now?
Can't tell me now. Well,
Can't tell you now?
He's got to wait for 2 weeks.
Okay.
Definitely, maybe.
Definitely. Maybe.
For a second, I thought I'd say catch me outside.
Catch me outside.
But you don't know cultural references.
Yeah, but I know that one because it was a meme.
Yep. It says ask me later again. Okay. So
Well, awesome. Well, dude,
yeah, Kevin, thank you so much.
Solid,
Absolutely.
solid friend you have.
Yeah, I told you he's amazing, amazing person. So thank you so much for coming on the show.
I appreciate y'all having me
I
on.
think we have some good nuggets.
There should be at least 30 seconds of quality content.
I think we
if
could.
you play it in slow motion.
I mean, we only stopped
number
the
of
camera
claps,
3 times.
one
To
hit
start the things.
So, guys, thank you so much for watching this video. If you like this, go ahead and subscribe to the channel. Hit the notification bell.
And smash that like button.
Smash that like button. Guys, we'll see you on the next episode.
Peace.